Today, we are going to be looking at how to group positive and negative terms. But before we go ahead, let us understand what positive terms are and what negative terms are. Positive terms are terms with a positive sign in front of them. Positive sign in front of them. Take, for example, I have positive 5y. This has a positive sign in front of it, plus 5. Okay? What about positive 3x? This also has a positive sign in front of it, as you can see. What about if I have positive 7q? This also has a positive sign in front of it. What about if I have q? I have q. Now, if you take note of this, you realize that q has an invisible one. If you remember, when we were talking about coefficients, okay, this has an invisible one right here, and because there is an invisible one without any sign, that means there is an invisible positive sign right here. Okay, so you have positive 1q, so that tells you that this also is a positive term. Positive 1q, that's a positive term. What about positive 2a? That's positive term. Okay, let's look at negative terms. They have a negative sign in front of them. Negative 5y, negative sign in front of them. So you have negative 5y, negative sign in front of this. Negative 3x, okay, negative sign. Negative 7q, that's a negative sign. What about if you have negative q? Remember, there is also an invisible number right here, which is 1, invisible 1 also, right? So negative q or negative 1q is also a negative sign, a negative term. Okay, now how do you simplify a problem set in which you have both positive and negative terms? We are going to be using the concept of grouping. So what you want to do is to group the positive terms together and then also group the negative terms together and then simplify. Now that we already understood what positive terms are and what negative terms are, we should be able to do this easily. Take note, you want to group the positive terms together and negative terms together. This is 4q, which means positive 4q. That is a positive term, right? So I will have that right here, 4a, okay? 4q, sorry, okay? This is positive 2q, that's a positive term. It's going to be right here. Take note, 4q is a positive term because you have a plus right here, an invisible plus right there, okay? This is also a positive term right here, positive 10q. As you can see, positive is in front of it. So I'll bring it right here, positive 10q. Can you see that now? Very easy. So now these are the positives term. We brought them together. Now let us bring the negative terms right now. So these are the negative terms. My negative 5q and this right here, negative 6q. Okay, So that's how you want to solve such problem set. Okay, now if you add this right here, you realize that this is 4q plus 2q, that's going to give you 6q, plus 10q, that's going to give you 16q. Okay, also we have negative 5q and negative 6q. So if you take a look at this, negative 5q minus 6q, that gives you negative 11q. So we'll put 11q, negative 11q right here. If you take a note of this, you realize that we've been able to simplify this by grouping the positive terms on one side right here, the negative terms on one side. We've been able to add all the positive terms right here, 16q, and the negative terms as 11q. And then your final answer is going to be 16q minus 11q. And that is going to give us 5q. That means our final answer right here is 5q. All right, let us use that same approach to solve this second problem set. Let us group the positive terms on one side and negative terms on the other. Group them together. This is 7y, right? 7y. Remember, we want to group positive terms together and negative terms together. This is 7y. There is an invisible plus or positive right here, right? So that means this is a positive term. 7y. Positive 5y is here. Also positive y is here. So I'll bring positive y. Also positive 5y. Okay. You also have negative 4y right here. Bring it right here so that way you can group the negative terms together. And also negative 2y. Okay. So let us add up all the positive terms. 7y plus y, that is 8y. 8y plus 5y, that is 13y. 13y. Okay, and this is negative 4y and negative 2y. So if I say negative 4y minus 2y, that would give us negative 6y. So right now we have 13y minus 6y. So 13y minus 6y will give us 7y. So we have been able to simplify this problem set to have a final answer, to arrive at the final answer of 7y. I hope you all understand this concept. All right, guys, I'll see you in the next class.